for in Saint-Tropez. Diggery-do on the beach by the sand, riding a wave in a wake of an old didgery down in the room of the darkness, and I hear your sand knights scratch by my love, waiting around for a monkey by noonday. And if you're alone, I'll come home. Boom, 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 bang, bang, boom, bang, doong, and hack a doong, 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 dang, dang, doong, dang, doong, and doong, 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 dang, dang. Doom dang ding and ding 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 doodle 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 dang doom dang ding and ding boom bang boom bang boom and bang bang boom bang boom do 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 bang bang do 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 bang bang do ding ding do 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 do. Howdy. 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 Okay. Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to Runehammer. My name is Ingrid Bernal, and today we are going to be doing another hero portrait, pretty much by the formula. If it ain't broke, don't fix it type stuff, right? And the jam today is something I've not done yet, is a Rock Gnome. Rock Gnome. Rock Gnome. So, let's just get right into it. There's my base color. Bang. Okay, I don't even have a pose in mind for this guy. So, let's take a look at what we're dealing with here, shall we? We've got Gribble Turin. Well, Gribble's a goodly gnome name. 250 years old, bald, Picard head. Equipped as scale, shield and mace, cleric and warlock, neat beard and stash. Well, that's going to be the funnest part, right? So we've got a shield and mace with a wacky beard and mustache. The head's going to be a little bit oversized to convey his shortness, and he's got Picard head. It can be nice to do gnomes looking up in their portraits because it sort of reminds you that they're kind of down there. So let's just start there. Not really knowing what I'm doing, just kind of playing. Let's just play a while. Oh man, what? Thanks, dude. Thanks, man. Thanks. Everybody get an extra hour of sleep today, so that's kind of nice. We're staring down the barrel of Saturday. Hey, reality break. That's awesome, man. So, what are we looking at here as far as pose? Okay, so I've kind of got an idea of, you know, if he's shield and mace too, he's going to be a little bit athletic, so we'll make sure to... This Rock Gnome is yoked, son. Okay, so then right away I have this sort of like kid feeling that I'm not tremendously fond of. So I'm going to be fighting that throughout this process. Because, you know, a gnome has kid-like proportions, but I don't want a kid vibe to come through. So I'm going to start by having the counterpoint head direction that I often do. And let's just play. Let's just have a good time with this. It's a gnome, you know, it's really hard to be serious. And I've never thought of gnomes as having elfin ears so much as like ears like that. But I'll do a little bit of a combo. How about that? There we go. There's the back ear, slightly visible. Yeah, the mustache and everything will definitely work in my favor on that front. But your eye will catch pose and proportion much more than a feature such as a mustache. So we just gotta be mindful of it. It's not gonna be a disaster or anything. You know, I'm not getting crazy with the pose here. He's not leaping into action or anything like that. He's just kind of hanging out. So I think a lot of this is going to be shield right here, right? I'm going to do this sort of thing. A gnome with a shield is a funny idea. You know, it's like a dinner plate. So I don't like, I want a little more like organic angle to the shield. And by organic, I mean, you know, something that's just more, not quite so perfect. And then maybe a round shield would work better. Yeah, that could be better. There we go. See, by organic, what I meant is that he's not tensed with it right against his body to where it's vertical and so on. It's got a little bit of relaxation to it. So just for my own purposes, I'm going to mark where this edge is here with a line. And that's just so that as I'm proceeding, I can judge if I like the shield or not. It may sound silly, but you want to be sort of liking or enjoying how the things are coming together. Okay, so now I'm just going to cheat a little bit. And I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to sort of domify this a little bit. So I'm going to get liquify going. I'm going to get a large brush. I'm going to do this. And the reason I used liquify to do it instead of just painting it is that I like the sort of clean line that I got. I just wanted to repair the bulge. Okay. Now let's do something a little more whimsical with him, a little more irreverent than the usual like knight at attention type stance that I do a lot. So probably, you know, one of these, which isn't the easiest pose in the world to do, and pull it off. So it's basically the hand is just outside the eye line, like here. The index finger is toward the face. The thumb is along here. There you go. There's the hand. So at least I know where the hand is. See that? And then you use your pinky finger to counterweight the weapon. And so it actually, even though the hand is angled the one way, the weapon is angled the other, because of the way your pinky holds the weight of it. And then here's where the mace head will be. Okay, and we'll do one of these sort of bladed cavalry maces. Not a morning star, but a bladed mace. So you can see I'm just kind of being a little bit careful because, you know, you always want your weapons to feel sort of straight. You know, wonky weapons can feel kind of like Play-Doh or something. Like they can break the mood a little bit. How late am I? Oh, I don't know. Have him giving the finger. No, thank you. I missed the very start. Is this another character commission? Yes, it is, Alex. It sure is. I'm going to be spending more of the weekday streams doing, you know, design, dungeons, mechanics, room designs and stuff like that. And then I'm going to kind of stay the course with the weekend streams with doing just painting. So Monday morning, we're going to be talking about ICRPG again, and we're going to talk about the long-awaited, much-requested social encounters video. So we're going to be doing that on Monday morning. Should be fun. So the meat of the thumb is there, and then it goes out onto the weapon. And you can see where this gets a little challenging in here, as the exact shapes involved can be a little elusive. But I think we're doing pretty good. Just, taking it nice and easy this morning. Was up late working on Blood and Snow last night. So just feeling nice and calm. And we're just going to bring that into the piece. We're just going to take that calm and just bundle it up and send it. There we go. So there's the mace. So you can see at the last second there, I just picked a different color for the rearward blade of the mace. And that's just, again, to, reinforce what's behind what. But my shape got a little messed up. See that? How sad is that? So this blade actually needs to peak like there and there to keep the form. There we go. That's better. And then we'll put a little spike on top, of course. It's for jabbing orc helmets. And then just want to make sure that the haft is... Usually you want to do your haft a little thinner than your initial instinct. If it's too thick, it can feel sort of nerfy. Again, part of keeping a sort of serious tone when it comes to weapons and stuff. Okay, looking good. Right now he reminds me of one of the Moon Men. Are you pretty booked up? No, Nick Bowker, sorry. Hey, FS Bomb, yeah, everything's going great, man. No, I'm not that booked up. I'm looking good for, really the only thing booking up time is at the end of August here. I have a big trip coming up, so I'll be gone for a little while. But September is definitely available for all your commissioning needs up here in the town of Barhome in the Urdrum Mountains, the Kinder Peaks. Pyronide, that's not weird at all, man. That's okay. I do really 2 primary pieces of work each day, and one is in the morning and one is later at night. So I usually work 2 to 3 hours every morning on paintings, and as well as whatever my newest writing project or projects are. And then I do my dishes and do my chores and all that stuff in the midday. And then as chores begin to become tiresome, I start getting curious about RPGs again. And usually I'll spend my afternoons having a beer and working on, instead of like work stuff, working more so on like my own recreational RPG stuff. Like right now I'm working on Torchbearer. So, games that I'm just reading and having fun with and wanting to figure out. That's a little different mindset than working on stuff you're going to publish, right? I mean, very different mindset. Now, I'm definitely going to do some cool bare feet on this guy, but he's going to have like a little like bands on the top of his feet to protect his feet in combat. There we go. You got that little ankle bone popping out, and then he's going to have these bands on top. And then this foot is kind of off to the side, right? He's got his hips are open is one way to describe it. And that's another way, actually, when hips are really open, it can have a sort of irreverent feel to it because you see the relaxation in the figure if the knee is pointing like right out here instead of sort of toward the camera, which is a little more formal or tense. If your knees are, sort of wide open, like a duck-footed, you might call it, it can imply, being relaxed. And that's part of the gnome sort of charm to me, is that even in the terrors of the Underdark, they have a kind of relaxed sense of humor and kind of good-to-go types, right? All right, looking good, looking good. Now, I wanted to do a little bit more sort of interesting head anatomy to really get the gnome thing to drive home. And so what I'm going to do, let's cheat a little bit. We'll go back to Liquify. And I wanted to do this sort of really small forehead concept, which you guys have probably seen in some of the WotC gnome art that's out there. And every once in a while something will pop up on DeviantArt that has the same kind of theme, but where a lot of the face is elongated and exaggerated in a way that doesn't leave much room for the forehead. So I'd like to try that. There we go. So if you can see right there what I did, so the forehead now only gets to live like right there. It's very small compared to a human. And there we've got our pose. Feeling great. So that's some real Blob Ross type stuff to do there. If you guys could follow how I did that. I didn't do any line drawing. I just got my silhouette. Totally get that. So Runehammer, commissions are your full-time job. No, they're not at all. Commissions are just something I do. I mean, they help with rent a little bit, sure, but they really are something that I do more for the community. I really think people enjoy character portraits. I know that I do as a player. I really enjoy them. Honestly, I think my publishing business would be doing a lot better if I didn't have so much fun doing commissions. But just commissions are just so fun. And how long did it take? Well, a very, very, very long time, because you can't just take, how long I've been Drunkards and Dragons and Runehammer and say that's how long it took, because in the background I was working on my art skills for the past 30 years plus. And so I don't have, art skills to boast about by any means, any stretch of the imagination, but I do have a lot of that experience, where I've done that work. And so you get some of the speed capabilities, and you get some of the confidence there that you need. So how long did it take me to get to be, a extremely busy commissioner or commissioned artist? I don't know, my whole life, basically. Okay, so I'm doing the flesh right now. Now I captured that flesh color that I like on the face, and now I'm going to go back to my background, which is just a little too on the nose as far as that flesh color, and I'm going to give it some tone, because I want him to be in sort of a subterranean feel, right? I'm just playing with tones and trying to find one here. Like that could work. So I'm just differentiating to make sure that he's not just standing in an area that's the color of his flesh tone, because that's just weird. And I'm just like sliding these things around, just seeing what happens. Kind of maybe something a little more amber might be nice. Purple isn't working for me. Now also this piece is going to be a DM screen like so many of the hero sets that I do. So there isn't a tremendous amount of weight on my background, because they'll wind up all sharing a background. Okay. Now we're just going to go back to this skin. And let's work on the most important and the most fun part of every hero piece, which is the face. It's a lot of where you capture who this person is and what they're like. Let's look at right here. 250. So he is sort of old and bald. Low strength and low dex. Yeah, so we definitely want to drive the sort of the old theme home here. Like, he should be visibly old. And I'm not going to need all this lower face, because we're going to have the mustache. Did I get hair color here? Gray. No, I didn't get hair color. Weathered tanned skin. Interesting. Okay. In one sentence it says pale, the other one it says tan. That's okay. That's okay. I hope everybody's having a nice Saturday morning. Get your coffee going. It's always a good time to take a look at all the things from the week to be grateful for. All the things that drove you crazy. So just playing with these skin colors here, and maybe we can make it a little more ruddy like that. You just do a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow, and it'll bring it away from that blue. So he's not like an alien. We don't want him to be, so Rock Gnome that he's not a living creature, or like looks undead or something. But we do want to have this skin tone that's pale and sort of cold colored or stone colored in a way. At least I think. I think there's a lot of way to interpret a Rock Gnome, but that's just me. That's just me. Okay, so we got to remember this eye line is really high, like that. This is very unusual for my drawing style, so I've got to remember not to lose it, or I'll just get another sort of generic piece. See, look how odd that is. That is outside my normal style for sure. Here's the nose shadow. Big nose, right? I don't want to get too high of a nose. There we go, there we go. And then you need the big nostrils. So it's really easy to forget nostrils sometimes when you're doing like a big dwarven or gnomish nose. But don't forget them. They're important for getting that form. See, there's that nostril. And you know, sometimes when you're learning, a nostril can be a really hard thing to do because it's easy to make it look really dumb, like a big hole in the face. But don't lose heart, you know, stick with it. You know, getting good noses is a big part of showing expression in the face. Not so much expression as character. Okay, so here's this bald head. Now I don't like too heavy of an outline, so we're going to get this skin tone a little closer to the edge of the silhouette. And then smooth it off just a bit. There we go. Grab that shadow color. And now we're starting to see it come together. The facial features make him look like a moon man. I'm not sure what a moon man exactly is, but sounds pretty cool. So you can see just, excuse me, keeping the eyes real simple there. Real simple. And then we're going to be able to do a little bit of outlining and stuff because his advanced age lets him have some wrinkles. So, you know, on a young or sort of beautiful female character, you got to be careful with outlining because it can really make a character look old really quickly. It sort of implies like deep creases in the face. So you have to be careful. But on this character, I think we're clear. Okay, let's see here. Now, I think I'm ready to start to think about hair. And I'm going to start with the eyebrows. Now you got to be careful with eyebrows that are angled slightly up. You can be wanting to do a smile or something like that, but if it's real easy to accidentally get like a pathetic or sad or mopey look with your eyebrows, so be careful with that. Yeah, we can do some little crow's feet here. Just no big deal. Some smile lines. Those will probably be gone once the facial hair comes in. Okay, great. So now as for color on the hair, you know, we can kind of go kind of crazy like a purple or something, but I feel like a white might be appropriate. Or a light brown. Let's try that. So let's get into the browns here. And maybe something right in there. Just a creamy brown. And that's going to clash a little bit. So, you know, be careful with that clashing effect. That's better. Okay, so no, it just clashes with the blue. It doesn't feel right. Let's try an older blonde look here. No, I don't like it. I almost like black actually as his hair color. So, you know, we imagine filling in a lot of the rest of the piece, and then black could be used as the hair color, and we'll put some accents on it. So it isn't just pitch black. Filling in the upper portion of the eye sockets here with a slightly darker shadow. And then maybe a little nose shadow. Get a little view of that rear nostril, and then kind of this little divot that can be in the side of the nose on some noses. There we go. Round out the knob. And he's got a couple of these old, you know, he's beat up a few times. Okay, and then he has that. And a lot of that's going to be gone because of the facial hair that we're about to get into. Just chilling out here. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We must atone for our failure to help Hank. Oh, you guys haven't failed me. No, there's no failure here. It's Saturday morning. The only person failing is Cooper because he's so annoying. Poor dog. Okay. It's getting into the neck. And the reason I want to do this neck first is that I need this data so that I can go over it with the stash and beard. So, because you don't want to be doing, you want to go on top with your stash and beard because that's how they're going to be. So you're going to make your life a lot easier to go on top. So you want to do your neck and the other sort of stuff that's down below first. There we go, a little darker nose shadow there to match. Maybe even a dark eyeshadow here, right? Maybe even one here in the pit of the cheek. And so that matches that neck shadow, and so you can feel that feeling of light coming together. And now we're going to need our highlight, which I think is going to be like right here. Yep, that's going to work. And one of the hardest, slowest things to learn is like, what does "that's going to work" really mean? And I think that's what you get the least answers on as far as art education. What does "okay, that's going to work," or "yeah, that's popping," or "yeah, that's really helping," or "yeah, ooh, I like that," that fits. What does that even really mean? What does fit mean? Well, that is a tough question. That's a perennial question. Question's gonna keep coming up. And in time, you'll be able to feel when a color is wrong. I don't know if, I'm not sure what you guys are talking about there. Hi, hey Marie, how you doing? Okay, so let's just kind of keep going here. Now I want to get a little bit into, what are we dealing with equipment here? Scale, I think is what it said, right? Scale mail, Mace of Disruption, a few prayer beads, that's nice. Okay, so let's think in something a little bit minimalistic so we don't cover him all up, because at least what I've seen of rock gnomes, they tend to have some sort of bare skin, they tend to like to show some skin. So let's do that. Plus, this is an inclusive, egalitarian future we're in. So we don't want to just do our female characters like showing skin. Male characters should do it too. You know what I mean? Enough silliness. So there's going to be the top of his armor. So his armor has this like droop. And then we're going to do like a little sort of upper piece like this. Like he kind of is from a bit of an odd rock gnome culture where they have a little bit different style, almost like an ancient Greek style. And in the meantime, we just get these pits on the clavicles, get some shadows here, start to fill in some of the chest, but there's not a lot to say here on the chest. Just doing skin tone and leaving a little bit of black here and there. And then a little bit of the shoulder is exposed, and then a little bit there. You see, just relaxing with it. The highlights on the clavicles, highlight on the chest. This one here as well. There's the sphenomastoid tendon is always coming down and big on all people, muscular and otherwise. It's always a large tendon. The sphenomastoid. And the sphenomastoid keeps your head from lolling backwards. That's why these are so developed and powerful, is that they never rest. They always have to keep your head from flopping back, which is the default position of most animals. It's like that. But we are weird animals because we're upright, and so we have these huge tendons right here that hold the head forward. Okay, anyway, get that highlight on there, get these little guys, and we're kind of looking pretty cool. Yeah, feeling good. And you notice too, like when you get away from the face, you can start to relax quite a bit. Because if you're like me, you should feel sort of tired after the face as far as detail and precision, and you just want to like let your hand play a little more. Okay, now we got to make sure not to confuse, where the neck is and where the mace is, and so I need a little bit of color in here. See, there we go. Now the mace is behind the neck. If you have too much black, you can get this sort of strange confusion, like the mace is going through his neck or something. So you got to make sure to reinforce against that. And then here's where the scale mail sort of shirt or tunic is lifted off of him, so you can feel that. And then it's going to go like this. Okay. Now we're going to work on that in a minute. But yeah, I like how it's coming together, right? He's got a lot of character there. Alex, thanks, man. Appreciate it. The start drawing comments were in response to a different guy asking advice on how to get into drawing. Oh. I mean, the main way to get into drawing, I think, is to get yourself the tools. Get yourself a journal. And go ahead and just write your name or do a doodle on the first page. The first page is so intimidating in a brand new blank journal. And once you break that first intimidation, you're setting yourself this nice precedent. You're saying, I'm not going to be intimidated by this. I'm just going to draw whatever in here. And then just start drawing, hands and, monkeys and coffee cups. And just sort of, just go with it. I considered pointy ears, but I'm not sure pointy ears really feel that Rock Gnome-y to me. Hey Nate, what's going on, brother? Okay, so now here's where we get to just say screw it, and there you go. It has to be done, right? You just need that recurve mustache. This is a freaking gnome. Like, everybody, don't get too serious. At the end of the day, it's because these little buggers, we have this economy. All right, so let's just fill out the chin. Cut off the beard there, and then you can do a little bit. And he almost has like this Turkish look. It's kind of interesting. Now that's a really short cropped beard, so we probably want a nice full beard. It maybe even kind of goes up there. But I like the lack of sideburn. So we're going to stick with this sort of Ben Kingsley type look. And there's your beard. And he almost looks like Zod or something, like in a good way. So you notice, like, all that work I did on the neck, I just completely blew it away, right? But having that work done on the neck gave me those options. I could have done a short beard. I could have done no beard. I could have done braids. I could have done all kinds of things, and the data would be there waiting for me, and that to me is really important. So remember, the top lip is usually a shadow. The bottom lip is a highlight because light comes from above and your top lip angles inward. So you can just do this sort of thing. This guy's no nonsense, I'm telling you. Like, you don't want to wrestle with this dude. You're going to lose. And I'll tell you, there are many shameful ways to be defeated in D&D. And losing a grapple check to a gnome has got to be toward the top of the list. All right, here we go. So then a little bit of black for the mouth will give you finally like where exactly the mouth hole is, so to speak, the opening. And so you can do shadow, highlight, and then black. Yeah, he does look like Gangs of New York, which is a great look. I think that's a really badass look for a gnome. Daniel Day-Lewis is who you're thinking of. Bill the Butcher. Okay. There we are. That's where I'm going to stand on it. And then I'm going to give him just a little bit of these guys, which is what my customer described, or client described, as Picard head, which is just a little bit of hair on the sides. Let's tousle these eyebrows just a bit, and by tousle I mean make a mess of. There we go. Isn't that nice? Just a little bit of just freedom here with the hand. Come here, Coop. Stick around. All right. Pretty cool. He's got a real tone of not messing around here. This gnome means business. You know what I'm saying? This is not a joke. I will smash your face if you make any height jokes. This is not gonna go well for you. Okay, so he does have some other items with him that we want to capture, at least in silhouette, to get started. Scrolls, beads, and a goodly tome. Which here, my customer is asking that it's in his hand, so we're going to have to change that. So let's just go into our nice shield and say goodbye to that. Just using my lasso here and drawing freehand. There we go. So you still get this arm in here, which sort of implies weight, right? Anytime an arm is sort of pulling straight down, pulling like that, you get this feeling that there's weight. Because if you're carrying heavy things, unless you're like, flexing to impress your girl, you don't tend to curl your arm. You tend to let your arm hang straight. It's like watching an online image download in the 90s from top to bottom. Oh man, I remember those days. Will you age him with salt and pepper? Yeah, Evil Elvis. We're definitely going to be doing some highlights in the hair. We don't want it to be absolute black. An anatomical illustration of a gnome skull. Yeah, you gotta just, watch that forehead. And they have absolutely no prognathism in their skulls. Is another sort of catch to drawing a good gnome, I think. So he's gonna have some gloves with some sort of bracers built in. This. And then this book, or not this book, this hand is going to be holding a book. And his shield, I think, is going to be back here. And we're going to give it a lighter color. And I'm actually going to go underneath to make my life easy. And just do this. All right, so that's where his shield is. We can kind of kill that line there. And then we're going to do something like that, right? So you can belt his shield onto him. But we're not quite to that point yet, so we're just going to sort of chill for a second. Now he does have some scroll tubes. Okay. And then he has these beads. But I think the beads he's going to be holding with his book right here. All right, so he's got this little rosary thing here. And then the book, we're going to have to sort of get a little bit creative for that, okay? So where are we at? Where are we at? Let's just keep going on the interior of the character. So we're going to need some leather, and then we're going to need to do the scale, which is going to be really fun. So let me get my leather first. So this is just the color. I'm just looking for the color first, and that's going to work. So I'm just going to store this color right over here for later. And let's do this scale mail first. Now you guys know how I like to talk about doing metal, which is the difference between the shade and highlight when you're doing metal is really, really abrupt contrast. And so that's what we're going to do on this sort of scale thing that he has. So let's do these pentagon scales. And this one is seen kind of from side view here. And then this one is seen partial side view. Okay. So that's the first layer of scale. So I'm going to fill these in. And again, just not getting too uptight about, exactly, are they the same? Are they perspective perfect? Are they this, that, the other thing? I just don't. No. I just want to keep floating along and have fun. So I'm just going to relax with it. Then here's the next layer underneath. And then notice too, there's just a few lines that are just going to happen for me. They're just like my hand just wants to put a little doodad here and there, and that's fine. And there's my top. Okay, so it's a bit of an unorthodox armor top. I kind of like that, and we're going to put maybe a buckle on it or something. But now, to get this metal effect, I go from all the way down there, if you can see my color picker, here it is, all the way up here in one move. Bang, like that. Just a lot of contrast. Poof. So let's get these highlights on these things. And this is what gives you your metal look. Also with metal you get to use absolute white, which you almost never get to use, except maybe on teeth. Okay. So now we go there. Now I go to my absolute white all the way there in the corner, and then I just go bang right on the corner. And you can even break those. You can do them like at angles, because metal has such specularity. It's crazy like that. And there you go. Okay, now I'm going to take that brighter one and I'm going to put little buckles in between here, like little chain linky things. And we're going to get some color. He really does need some color. So I think the mace is going to have some color, and the book is going to have some color. So let's do the book with a leather cover like this. And he's holding this book. Now I'm going to make my life a little bit easy and go behind again. See, it's just going behind is just a way to not have to dodge your work as you fill. Okay, and then you can just bring it on down. Oops, there we go. Like that. Okay. Then we're going to bring the thumb out. There we go, like that. So he's got his sort of thumb out along the book. You know, like you would carry your sort of your school books or whatever. Okay, then boosh, boosh. Wow, did I say or whatever? That's a really dusty chestnut. I haven't said that in a long time. That's weird. Okay. So here we go, reinforcing the sort of book concept by doing the spine and stuff down in here. And then you're starting to see the book. Wrap the beads. Yeah, we could get around to that. Should the book feel bigger because the gnome is small? That's a pretty large book. I don't want to get so big that it's just like ludicrous, but you know, hey, I'll hear your critique. We can just upscale it a little bit like that. Just a little bigger. But you know, wouldn't gnomes have gnome-sized books? Okay, so here we get a cream color for the pages. And then inside your pages, you just take that same color, bump it way up, get some bright, just do that. There you go. Okay. There's this goodly tome. And we're coming in at about 45 minutes right now, so he's going to be probably a 2-hour character. Yeah, hey everybody, 84, you crazy lumpyheads hanging out on Saturday. Sure appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Good to have everybody around. Always welcome here in old Ingrid's house. Ingrid Bernal. Just a citizen of Barholm up in the Kinder Peaks. Okay, so now it's not even that hot out anymore, so he's running out of excuses to be so itchy. All right, then we're gonna have a couple little leather wraps up here. Now I'd like to do a brass mace, especially because this is like a deep gnome and they have strange metals down there. And so once again, we're gonna do this kind of rule of like extreme contrast in metal. And if you saw my Torton that I did for my last commission set, did the same thing, gave him like a gold sword. And it's a great way to just get some color into your piece, so you don't wind up with, you know, gray metal all the time. You know, they have the same problem in Excalibur. You know, they just have all these gray knights, and so they started putting, you know, the one knight in the gold armor, so you can stand out on the battlefield, and it's awesome. All right, here we go. We're going to put some little crenellation stuff in here too. Okay. And by crenellation stuff, I just mean like these. You know, what are those? I don't know. Don't worry about it. The little things that hook the mace together somehow. Now, the mace, you go up to this extreme contrast color, and you catch the blade edge right here, sort of. Catches a nice highlight. That catches a highlight. That catches a highlight. That catches it. And that's really most of what I need right there. Just something to bring some color into the piece. Right. We can put a little bit of this on here. And then we can do some little decorative bits inside, you know, like this. Wait, you want to go the other way. Like that. Just kind of finishing it off there. And yeah, it looks like I have some floating bits right there. You're probably feeling that's a little weird, but that's okay. Just put a little dot there and just let it be free. Great. Okay, so where are we at here? I'm not sure. I actually think there's another blade that we're not really seeing that's right here. If it has the right amount of blades on it. Right? It has like 6 blades, so there would be another blade right there, and the whole thing would be catching this really hot color. Like that. And little buckles here, kind of doing this, and then that's going to be at such an angle that it's actually even going to catch a white highlight like that. There we go. And needs a little bit of thickness, like so, and that can be this darker color. Just a little hint in there. And then these buckle things need to cut into it like this. Like these are things that like go down to the haft or something. There we go. There we are. Now he's got enough blades on that thing. Great. So see how that just brought some color into it, you know, to keep it from being so, yeah. Aren't gnomes supposed to have larger proportionally heads? Well, I mean, look at the size of that head. I'm not sure what else to say to you there. I do think, looking out at that zoom out, I'm going to go bigger here on the feet. There we go. Give him some real grounding on those big old feet. Oh, I see. Okay, no worries. All right, great. Everything's great. Everybody's happy. Okay. Super duper. There we go. Feeling good. A little outline might help this book to become a little more solid. You know, keeping the hand relaxed, but just giving it a little bit of solidity there. And you know, we're going to have to do some stuff with, you know, giving this book some detail on its cover, because, you know, all cool magic tomes have a little more detail than they really should, right? It's just part of the fun. I'm just not quite sure what to do yet in that department to get there. There's a little something missing in the head, which is that he's just so pale and monochrome. He just doesn't have a lot of life to him, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into a nice ruddy tone here. See that ruddy tone? It's almost like the color that your nose turns when you've been drinking too much. And then I'm going to take that little bit of pink, I'm just going to mix it into the blue like that. And I'm going to mix back out, and I'm going to mix it again. And there we've got this little bit of a ruddy tone. So we're going to get into the nose, a little bit on the cheeks. And notice it's not like a bold pink. It's just barely pinker than the blue, to give him a little bit more life, so he doesn't look like a golem or some shit. Okay, and then the bottom lip is definitely going to have the pink. And then the bottom lip especially is where I can really come back, get a more pinky pink, like in there, and put a little spot on there, a little pop. So it's a little dark, so we want to be like here. There we go. And then same with the nose, you can put a little pop. And so when you come back out, you see how you get some, it's almost like doing makeup. Like blush, you know, it's like doing blush on the character. And now, if that feels a little dark or a little dismal, you take your bright blue and just mix it back in and stuff like that. There you go. Just to give him a little more life there. And then I'm going to grab that ruddy and I'm just going to put a little on the chest and get that little pink, a little on the collarbone, and just catch your eye with a little bit of shenanigans there. Next up, I want this top to be a little more like legendary, like he has, it's almost like artifact grade, and so to get that it just needs detail. So I'm going to do some detail work. Usually with armor and equipment, less detail can imply more common quality or lower quality. But all kinds of little details kind of makes it feel like it's handcrafted or an heirloom or mastercraft. So this little line comes across. So they all have this corner etching on them, or edge, sort of edge effect. See that? It's like where they've been sort of carved or etched with the decorative little jam. And then each one can have these two little corner pieces. So when you're drawing on dark, you use light. When you're drawing on light, you use dark. And we're just doing this little thing here. There we go. Nice. Okay, see, so just that little bit of work, and now it feels more like the armor has some etching in it. Is this gnome gray? Well, I'm taking a closer look. It looks pretty gray to me. Is this gnome gay? Well, I don't know. I suppose that's his business. Ain't nothing wrong with that. All right. Okay. Now we were going to get some salt into the hair, right? A little bit of accent so we don't just have this lightless void for hair. So let's start with some gray highlights. You know, and being careful with each stroke because it can really imply how the hair is sort of combed or flowing. So strokes done with highlights in hair, each one can be like, can bear a lot of weight as far as implying form. So just be mindful, stay fluid. Really good advice for lots of activities is to be mindful and stay fluid. Those are good words for doing anything well. Okay, so here we go. And then take a little bit brighter gray from that, come on up, and then just do some little highlights on the lines you just did. Just like that. Just a little more light. That's it. No need to go crazy. And that's all we're going to do. Keep it extremely simple. Now there's such a temptation to do like facial tattoos and stuff. He just has such a playground there to goof around with, but I'm going to resist that temptation because when this guy gets into his team portrait, it's all going to make more sense. That gnome looks like my grandpa. And you have one cool grandpa, my friend. One very cool grandpa. Okay, so yeah, we definitely are looking at a 2-hour character here because we're coming up on the 1 hour mark. And look what I have. You know, I have all this silhouette to fill in and to work on. So to finish the stream up today, let's do these feet. Not only because feet are so focal to the gnome sort of personality, but also just I want to get back to this skin tone. It's really fun to work with. So it's around there, and then these are bare legs, bare ankles. The dog is so weird. It's just a never-ending parade of oddity with that dog, I swear. Although anyone who has a dog knows they are so weird. Yes, Cooper. He's like rolling around on his back, losing it. Okay, so these foot protectors are held on by these little straps here, just like that. And let's get a slightly different leather, like maybe here, and then hue shift it a little bit, and we get this kind of. So you don't get the same leather as the book. There you go. There's a little foot protector. Cool, right? And then we'll put a little brass buckle on here as well. There's a little highlight here, no big deal. And then here's your little spot for your buckle. And then since I conveniently already have my brass colors, I can just go like this. Put a little hook in there, like that. Then get your really bright yellow. And just do that, little guy. And there you got your little hooks. And then you're going to do some accents, which are these small lines like this. And this is like where the leather has been, you know, burnished or stitched. Just to give it some construction. And then let's get into these skin tone highlights. So here's the sort of shin, ankle bone, calf, ankle bone. Back of the heel there, and here's the top of the foot, top of the foot, top of the foot. And there we go. And you always, I mean, at least for these character pieces that I do for people, I always try to get this nice flat ground plane. Because especially when you come time to combine them into a DM screen or, you know, show them together, this really flat ground plane can be really happy. Very useful. Grounding the character. And you can make it a little heavier to imply a shadow too. All right. My dog lays upside down in her chair with her head hanging off the edge. I really dig your style. I've gone back to square one with my cartooning so I can illustrate. Awesome. Surly Tim. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate the kind words. I will strive to earn those kind words with my actions and my deeds. Now I am going to keep going here a little bit. And I'm going to break my rule just a little bit. So I'm going to do another black line here as a base. Black line here. This is like the little Birkenstock strap that's holding his foot protector on. And then I'm going to take that brown right from the book. I don't even care. And then I get the nice, you know, 2 different leather colors on the foot. That makes me happy. Oh yeah, this guy's great. It's a fun little dude to have in your group. We do have a shadow here that I kind of didn't fully account for right there. So you just do that shadow by not having the highlight reach the little skirt or kilt or pantaloons. Really like the off-the-shoulder armor piece. That's got some interesting differentness to it. Oh, Bartis Parkour. Hey, thanks, man. Stamped in a t-shirt. You know, I got to say on that note, Bartis, It's really an intriguing journey doing a YouTube channel over time, because sometimes the audience wants you to not change, but change happens in life. So I know it may make people a little sad in some ways, but I'm not really that sort of crazy, wild, wacky character that I was at the beginning of Dungeons and Dragons, at least not at the moment. I'm in a little more mellow phase of things right now with life. So I think the key to being good at this is just to be honest. Just be yourself. Don't be a showman or a salesman. And, just I hope that comes through in my work. Okay. Looking good. I like it. He's got a lot of soul. He might even have a little bit of room for a bit of an eye highlight, which I normally am very careful to do that, but in this case, does that work? Because he's not human. He can kind of get away with that. So if I'm going to do that, so let's just do a quick comparison. Naturalistic or deep? Naturalistic, deep. Now the natural looks a lot more real in a lot of ways. Like that's very realistic. Eyes are often very dark. You very seldom see like the whites of the eyes and so forth. But this is kind of interesting. It's got a little more fantasy to it. So I think I'm going to stick there. But to make that work, I need just a little more socket shadow. And that's all I mean by socket shadow. It's just the deep spot where the socket gets dark above the eye. Make that highlight work and make it pop. Well, this is a fun, I never really got this close during the process, so it's kind of fun to be up close like this. Get a little bit of an outline on the rear ear like that, just to make it solidify. Yeah, it's fun to be up close to him like that. Get a little highlight for these wraps. Nothing crazy. Also, I think I'm going to do a little more scariness here. Just a little more like beware this weapon. See what I mean? Just a little scarier, a little deadlier. That's just that little change. Nothing crazy. Okay, cool. And I think I'm going back on my own commentary, but just a little more. You just really want to look like a badass. I think that's important whenever you're doing a character portrait. Is like, think badass. Yeah, there we go. That's more of the mass that I need. Really cool. Really, really fun. Now I think too he's going to have gloves that don't fully cover the fingers. So this is the final stage, and then unfortunately we're going to run out of time. But let's kind of do this part here. So the gloves are going to go over half the fingers like so. So that's all you see of the fingers down there. And then we're going to get this leather, this lighter leather. We're going to glove him in like this. And then they've got a wrist piece there. Now I want that to be darker, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. Just going to lasso grab this. This leather just isn't right to me for the gloves, so. And again, what does this isn't right exactly mean in art terms? Sometimes I just can't tell you. So now I need to blend some of that shadow that got exaggerated. And there we go, I have my color. Here's this sort of half glove down here. It's got sort of some wrist tie to it like that. And then just going to take some black or near black and do these kind of again, stitch or seam lines. You know, pretty corny little gimmick, but it works to sell that it looks, you know, crafted in the Middle Ages or something like that. There we go. There's that glove. And then let's get this skin highlight. And get some highlight on these fingers and thumbs. Just like that. There. So now we got a little bit of armored gauntlets to do. I'm not going to do a lot to the central torso, and then maybe do some more scales down on the skirt. Actually, you know, the bottom of the skirt probably is going to be scales like this. Almost like a segmentata. Like that. Yeah, sweet. But all of that is going to have to wait, because we have reached 11. It's a big day today. A very dear friend of mine is getting married today, so I have lots of grooming to do. And hey, everybody, remember, go to icrpwog.com. Go over there and check it out. If you haven't given ICRPG a look or a read yet, I would love it if you try it. There's a free quick start booklet which you can check out for free if you want to get into it, and then you can grab it on Amazon or drive-through-rpg.com. So that's always fun. And Patreon, thank you everybody who's been joining in the Patreon fun wagon. We are almost to 500 patrons on the Patreon podcast, so that is amazing. Frankly, when I put that goal on the Patreon goal set, I never thought we would reach it, much less this year. And it is amazing. So thank you, all my patrons who make all this stuff happen. The podcast we do every week, and it's always a lot of fun. You know, deep thinkies on RPG stuff. So thanks everybody for tuning in to Cartoons here on Saturday morning, wearing your jammies with me, sipping on a little bit of coffee. The next stream will be Monday morning. And we're going to talk about using ICRPG to do like social encounters, negotiating, intimidating, as well as like puzzle solving and like, you know, more like social riddles. Basically anything that isn't combat. We're going to give it a nice deep think with a sort of illustration board on Monday morning. And from here on out, I'm going to switch cartoons to 10 a.m. This lets me get a little more prep time in the morning. And as winter comes, you know, it's going to be a little easier to get moving by 10 because, you know, the blood is very cold in the morning because the morning mist. Yeah, and so Marie, thank you. Alex, Bartas, Rudolph, thanks you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate having you around. Please consider jumping on Patreon. $1 gets you all the podcasts. So $1 a month is pretty stinking affordable if you ask me. So anyway, it's a mellow morning here at Bar Home. My name is Ingrid Bernal. Keep it real. Don't steal. You always get a deal. And remember the 3 things in life: strength, honor, and of course, beer. Have a great weekend, everybody. Let's make this world just a tiny little bit better than it was yesterday. And have a good time doing it, okay? May your dice roll high. This is old Ingrid Bernal signing out. Boom, boom, bam, bam. Boo, 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 boo.